If they suspect because of your color, if they suspect because of the language you speak, if they suspect because of the cut of your jib, you can be rounded up and taken away. Once again, Donald Trump's Supreme Court has proven that it has no concern, fealty, loyalty to protecting the Constitution of the United States, but instead, their loyalty is to defending the agenda of Donald Trump, no matter how racist, no matter how violent, no matter how nonsensical. They are trashing the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution, the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution, the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. Must I go on? It also seems as though maybe they're setting us up for a rerun of the 1940s when FDR disgracefully cast into internment camps between 120 and 150,000 Japanese Americans, 2/3 of which, by the way, were American citizens. Is that where we're heading once again? Because Brett Kavanaugh in the shadow docket ruling has made it so. I want to read for you what the Fourth Amendment is, the Fifth Amendment is, the 14th Amendment, very quickly before we get to what this ruling was. And I'm going to read to you an amazing dissent from Justice Sotomayor, because there are some jurists, there are some justices on the Supreme Court who have their heads screwed on straight and understand what the ramifications of this ruling are. This is the Fourth Amendment, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable search and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. This is the constitutional amendment against unreasonable search and seizure. And that means detainment as well. That they can't stop you and search your person. They can't ask for, without probable cause, right? And this is what we're seeing all across the country. From where I live here in Washington, D.C., with the mass secret police, backed up by the National Guard, the military invasion and occupation of the nation's capital. We've seen it in L.A. We're going to be seeing it with the war declaration that Donald Trump just made against the city of Chicago. This is the Fifth Amendment. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. We've seen the Trump administration absolutely disregard the protection of the right, not the offering of the right through the Constitution. It only protects your natural right to due process. No person, doesn't say no citizen. You'll notice that. Our founders were very careful about the words they used. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. And the 14th Amendment, of course, first it talks about citizenship, and then it goes into, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Now, because I'm not feeling well, I am feverish and still have COVID pretty solid. I'm going to lean to this 1-minute clip from MSNBC to give you a breakdown of exactly what was ruled yesterday in the shadow docket ruling from Brett Kavanaugh. And then we'll get into exactly what Sotomayor's dissent was.
Breaking news from the Supreme Court today. In a shadow docket ruling, the court said the Trump administration can continue indiscriminate immigration stops targeting Latinos and Spanish speakers. The court's ruling blocks a lower court decision barring, quote, roving patrols in Los Angeles. Now, the order was unsigned, but in a concurring opinion, Justice Brett Kavanaugh wrote that he granted the administration's request because, quote, apparent ethnicity can be a relevant factor, end quote. And if a U.S. citizen gets caught up in these stops, folks, well, Kavanaugh and the majority says that's okay. They will be free to go after their encounter with authorities. So there you are. Justice Sonia Sotomayor spoke for the three dissenters, writing, quote, We should not have to live in a country where the government can seize anyone who looks Latino, speaks Spanish, and appears to work a low-wage job. Rather than stand idly by while our constitutional freedoms are lost, I dissent.
So that's where we are. Brett Kavanaugh, lone ruling in the shadow docket nonsense, said that if you're a Latino, if you look Latino to an ICE agent, what the hell does that even mean? Does that mean if you just have brown tinted skin? What if you're of Indian descent or Pakistani descent or Persian descent? What if you're Israeli? Yeah, you're kind of brown. Stopped. If you're speaking Spanish, if you're bilingual and you're speaking Spanish to your grandmother, probable cause. If you're standing waiting for your wife to get out of Home Depot and you're brown, probable cause, right? That's what they're saying. And Sotomayor hammered the concurrence, meaning Brett Kavanaugh and the government, when she said this. The government, and now the concurrence, has all but declared that all Latinos, United States citizens or not, who work low-wage jobs are fair game to be seized at any time, taken away from work, and held until they provide proof of their legal status to the agent's satisfaction. That's where we are. That's where we have been since Donald Trump took office. And now the Supreme Court has affirmed that yeah, it doesn't matter if you're American or not, if you're a citizen or not, if they suspect because of your color, if they suspect because of the language you speak, if they suspect because of the cut of your jib, you can be rounded up and taken away until you satisfy whatever the jackbooted thug's intentions are, until you satisfy whatever questions are in the hollow, empty brain of whatever moron that is allowed to carry a gun and kidnap people off the streets. Pissed off? Yeah, and you should be too. She went on, and this is a 31-page dissent that is masterfully written, and there will be a link to it in the description below. I would advise you to take an afternoon. It's not going to take an afternoon, but take some time to read through this. It's not written in legalese. There's all kinds of examples, and this is what I'm going to read from now is a stark example of exactly what she's talking about when she hammers the government's position, because after all, this case is Noem versus, this is the government bringing a case against an appellate, a defendant. Moreover, the on-the-ground reality contradicts the government's and the concurrence's claim of a chilling effect. Since the issuance of the temporary restraining order, Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem has called the district judge an idiot and vowed that none of the government's operations are going to change. The Customs and Border Patrol chief patrol agent in the Central District has stated that his division will, quote, turn and burn and go, quote, even harder now, unquote, and has posted videos on social media touting his agents' continued efforts chasing, cuffing, and deporting people at car washes. See also, and then she gives a reference to this incident in which two masked agents walked into a donut shop, grabbed two Latino men and threw them to the ground or against a wall, all without asking any questions. Accordingly, there is no reason to credit the government's assertion that it will suffer irreparable harm. Instead, it is the people of Los Angeles and the Central District who will suffer from this court's grant of relief to the government. Immigration agents are not conducting brief stops for questioning as the concurrence would like you to believe. They are seizing people using firearms, physical violence, and warehouse detentions. Nor are undocumented immigrants the only ones harmed by the government's conduct. United States citizens are also being seized, taken from their jobs, and prevented from working to support themselves and their families. The concurrence relegates the interests of United States citizens and individuals with legal status to a single sentence, positing that the government will free these individuals as soon as they show they are legally in the United States. Let me say this about that. Here in Washington, D.C., these totally masked, can't even see their eyes, goons with federal agent garb on, are standing outside on the platforms of the metro demanding IDs from people. Your answer when you ask me for my ID is "F you. You don't get to see my ID. I've done nothing wrong. You don't have probable cause. F you, ICE. F you, FBI." As should every American citizen. This isn't Nazi Germany. You don't have a right to see my papers. Continuing with her dissent, that blinks reality. Two plaintiffs in this very case tried to explain that they are U.S. citizens. One was then pushed against a fence with his arms twisted behind his back, and the other was taken away from his job to a warehouse for further questioning. More fundamentally, it is the government's burden to prove that he has reasonable suspicion to stop someone. The concurrence improperly shifts the burden onto an entire class of citizen to carry enough documentation to prove that they deserve to walk freely. The Constitution does not permit the creation of such second-class citizenship status. And then finally, the final paragraph here, the equities therefore lie with the plaintiffs. Countless people in the Los Angeles area have been grabbed, thrown to the ground, and handcuffed simply because of their looks, their accents, and the fact that they make a living by doing manual labor. Today, the court needlessly subjects countless more to these same indignities. This isn't just about being an American citizen, although that should ring in the ear of every Republican, every libertarian type, that you have the dignity of citizenship. You have certain unalienable rights. You can't be molested by the government. And yet, because Donald Trump is the dear leader, because Donald Trump put Brett Kavanaugh in his place and possibly paid off all his debts, who knows what went on with all of that? That's all. The Constitution be damned. It's whatever Trump wants. It's whatever Donald wants. These are wild times. If you have the privilege, use your privilege. Weaponize your privilege in these moments. Make sure your camera has enough space on it to be recording people. Take action. Get organized. Stay on the ground. What do you think? I invite you to this conversation. You can comment below wherever you're watching this video. You can call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me as always, daily@dollemore.com. Please, if you're in a position to do so, not if you're on a fixed income, not if you're not in a position financially to help out, but if you have $2 a month and you can help support this work in independent media, I would appreciate it very much. Click the join button below this video to become a channel member on YouTube, or you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. Man, my eyes are burning right now. I'm going to go to bed very, very shortly. I love and appreciate you very much. Take care of yourselves, be genuine, and take care of one another.